Hello, my name is Ashlynne Pillai and I'm a third year in the music focus at the Academy for the Fine Arts. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about my capstone project that I've been working on for this past semester. When I started this project, I really wanted to do something that I was interested in, so I ended up picking out something that involves two of my favorite things, musical theater and composition. For my project, I decided to fully write 3 original musical theater songs. Yes, I thought it was a little crazy too. To give some background, my older sister Elizabeth has been working on plotting an original show that centers around the stories of Robin Hood and Hansel and Gretel. With that in mind, I wanted to write 3 songs specifically for this show. But this show actually hasn't been written, so I had a lot of room for creative interpretation, and I really got to make the characters my own. I ended up writing songs for the characters of Hansel, Maid Marian, and Gretel. But today I want to focus on the song that I wrote for Gretel. Now when I started this project, I actually was not supposed to write a song for Gretel at all. I was supposed to write one for the character of the evil witch because I wanted to write a song for a villain. But as I researched the character of Hansel for the other song I wrote, I found a lot of information on Gretel, and I ended up feeling so inspired by what I read that I wrote an entire song for her. In the end, I did not get to write a song for the witch, but Gretel's song is actually my favorite song that I've written yet. Now up until this point, I had not really figured out what my process for writing music is. And part of the reason why I chose this project is because I wanted to discover that. Now, everyone knows Hansel and Gretel's story, right? 2 young children are abandoned in a forest, they leave a trail of breadcrumbs in the woods, they find a house made of candy, fall prey to the witch that lives there, and the witch tries to kill them, but in the end, it's Gretel who kills the witch. Now, in the show I'm writing for, the story is very different. Hansel and Gretel, for one, are orphans, and have grown up as such in the town of Nottingham. They do not know who their parents are, and they've been on their own for a while. Now, skipping ahead, Robin Hood and his gang of merry men discover that Hansel and Gretel might actually be the long-lost children of King Richard the Lionheart, who unfortunately is presumed to have died in the war, following the original legend of Robin Hood. Now, this is where Gretel's song comes in. Also, keep in mind that because the script for the show these characters are supposed to be in had not been written yet when I started this project, I had a lot of creative room to make the lyrics and songs however I wanted them, and even got to shape the characters in the way I envisioned them. In some ways, this was wonderful because I could write whatever I wanted, but in others, it was challenging because I was working with bare minimum of knowledge of what these characters were supposed to depict. So, that being said, Gretel's personality, and the way I imagined her, is that she likes stability and security, which is something she hasn't really had in life, but longs for. Despite growing up as an orphan, there's a certain comfort in knowing who you are. Now, it's important to know that society, at this point in time, did not treat orphans well. Orphans like Hansel and Gretel were typically very poor, destitute outcasts that were looked down upon by others in society. And they were used to feeling this feeling of inferiority or even shame. But now they, being Hansel and Gretel, are finding out they could possibly be the children of someone very important. It's like finding out you're the child of your favorite famous musician. It's crazy. So, Gretel is grappling with the fact that the person she thought she was isn't who she is at all. She might be the daughter of a king. Now, to most, this would be exciting, right? But all Gretel feels is fear and an intense amount of pressure. What if she's the daughter of someone important? What if she isn't? This song shows Gretel struggling with feelings of self-doubt and insecurity. Really, in this song, Gretel is pleading with everyone, and with herself, to remember that she's only human. She doesn't have any magical powers, or up until now, hasn't made any really important decisions. She's really just showing her humanity, and the fact that she's just a lonely young woman trying to do what is right. Now, I wish I could say that I figured out my writing process and it was really intense and I really thought about each line in the song and dedicated a lot of time to fully work it out, but in some ways I didn't. I literally wrote almost the whole thing in one setting, sitting down at my piano and coming up with it on the spot, and that's with the lyrics and melody included. I've not changed this song much since that first writing session, and I just have to give the credit to that for inspiration and creativity. I enjoyed this project because it forced me to complete music by a deadline, and that can be difficult to do. When I started, I thought it would be really hard to force myself to write something in order to meet a deadline, but I ended up feeling inspired enough so I didn't have to stress about getting it done. In some ways, I felt like I was cheating because the inspiration took hold and I never really had to force myself to write any of these songs. But another way I've looked at it is that having a deadline helped me feel inspired, because in the back of my mind, I always knew I had to get these songs done. I've heard other artists say that the pressure of time can help them write better music, and I discovered that this is true for myself as well. I also think that part of the reason why the lyrics for Gretel's song ended up being so easy to write and so personal is because as a high school senior, I am also at the brink of a lot of unknowns and big changes, and I was able to channel that personal experience into the lyrics of this song. The cool thing about this project is that it really did prepare me for a career as a songwriter. I learned what it was like to work under pressure and deadlines, and I forced myself to finish 3 songs that I started. It was also the first time that I as a composer experimented with different keys. I used to always keep my music that I wrote in the same key it was originally written in, but for this project I actually changed the key for 2 out of the 3 songs. I also found through this project that writing music really is a gift. A lot of it just comes naturally, but even if that's true, you have to be willing to grow and to motivate yourself to finish a song you've started. A lot of times as a composer, you write something and then you write something else and then something else, and then nothing is ever truly finished. This project forced me to finish the songs I'd started writing, and I'm better off for it. I just also want to say to anyone else who is into composition or songwriting, that's a talent not everyone has. And through this project, I realized just how much of a blessing it is to have that gift. And if you do have it, you should use it. And you shouldn't be afraid to share it. It's better as a musician to grow with others than to decline by yourself. If there's anything else I can say to other student composers or songwriters, it would be that your fear of other people's judgment of your music should not overtake your willingness to share your heart and emotion through it. You are always going to be your own worst critic, and there are people that are ready and willing to both encourage and help you. You just have to have the courage to take that first step for yourself and for others, because you never know who's going to be affected by what you write. Music, in my opinion, is one of the greatest forms of connection this world has, and I, for one, am ready to use that.